Darwin Platform Group of Companies is one of the fastest growing diversified Indian conglomerates with global footprints. It is setting up offices globally and tying up with companies across the globe from multiple sectors. The company has ventured into real estate and construction, stockbroking and finance, arms and ammunition, mining, airlines and many other sectors.
In today's rapidly evolving business environment, when risk is omnipresent, managing risks is no longer just about ticking a few boxes. Businesses need to maintain a panoramic view of risks to stay ahead of the curve. Join us to explore how organizations can rethink risk to unlock new possibilities and become fit for future. At PwC presents De-Risking the Future in collaboration with Business Today.
Hello, Namaskar. You're watching BTTV. This is Market Today. I'm Tanya, Aneja, and with me, Bhatnagar, our markets editor. Well, Indian markets continue to trade at record highs, but will the rally sustain going forward? We will discuss this and much more. But first, let's do one thing. Let's take a quick market check. Well, the high that we hit today was of 21,776. We have cooled off a little bit, but then we are still maintaining that 21,750 odd level on Nifty, a century already. And Nifty Bank also double century on that index, 48,484. That's the level on Nifty Bank. And if you look at some of the gainers from today's trading session, it's the PSU counters that are taking it away. And how? Coal India for you, 379.8. That's the level, the top gainer for you, 3.9% uptick there. BPCL, 470, 3.4% uptick there. Then we have NTPC as well from the PSU basket, 314. That's the level on this counter as we speak. Some of the auto names continue to shine, like Hero MotoCorp. We have been discussing this stock and after that 4,000 odd levels, the journey is just upwards and onwards. And then we have M&M as well among the top gainers for you, 1731. That's the level on this counter, 2.5% uptick there as well. But now coming to you, Shell, quickly for a quick market check as well. You know, we start with a century on Nifty daily, and the good news is that we end with that century too.
Absolutely, and that's called a trending day, Tanya. You open up with a gap and then you keep on rising higher and higher. We had seen that happening yesterday, and today is no different. Of course, the final trading day of the F&O expiry for December is today. The last half an hour will also be the adjustment for a lot of events, and that is going to be a lot of hectic activity as far as volume is concerned. So we'll pay attention from 3:30 from 3 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. in terms of what the price action will be. But so far, no complaints at all. The advanced decline ratio at the moment in the broader markets are 933 shares versus 111 that have fallen down, 1,111 that have down. So that's pointing to a bit of a profit booking in the wider market, but lots of hectic activity. It's the PSU basket that's doing phenomenally well. The top gainer at the moment is the Nifty PSU Banking Index, which is up 1.6%, 5784. All 12 stocks in this index are in the green, led by OMCs, led by Gas Authority, led by power producers such as Coal India and NTPC. The Nifty CPSE index is up 2.2%, 4,904. This is the biggest gainer. And look around you, look at the volume breakouts. It's just PSU stocks and so on and so forth. Hind Copper is up 13% at 266.90. PNB is up 5.2%, 97. We have BHEL 193, 6% higher. If you look at the entire PSU basket that I track, which is about 77 shares now, Tanya, all of them are doing fantastically well. Let me just give you one very interesting statistic. So out of 78 shares, there are about 20 that are in the red, and the losses are minimal. Heavy buying is seen on Coal India, heavy buying is seen on NTPC, and this is accompanied by a very sharp upsurge in price. So energy is one space, metals is another space, which is National Aluminium 127, 7.7% higher. We have MSTC doing fantastically well, and then we have the fertilizer space, National Fertilizers at 9180 is up 7%. So all around this space, whether it is GSFC, whether it's GNFC, all of them are doing fantastically well. Truly, we are sitting in a bull market of epic proportions, Tanya.
Absolutely, you said it, Shell. And look at Nifty Oil and Gas Index. That is also on a roll today, Shell. 2% uptick there. And look at stocks like Hindustan Petro, GSPL, IOC, Gas Authority of India. Remember, we have been discussing this stock, Gas Authority. We discussed it yesterday as well. And 10% uptick there on Hindustan Petro, GSPL up around 6% as we speak. IOC is also up and around 5%, and then we have Petronet LNG as well, 3%. So what's happening here, Shell?
Tanya, when you look at the natural gas space, see, these stocks are immensely cheap. Petronet hasn't done anything for 5 years. It's languishing at a multi-year low. You know, some time ago it was 180 rupees, and at the moment Petronet, I'll just tell you what is the low value on Petronet LNG. Let's do a monthly chart, and this is the lowest since we've seen in 2020. So these are deep value based buyings happening. If you look at how GAIL has moved, it is at a record high, and Petronet, the record high of Petronet I think is somewhere in the vicinity of 265 rupees. So it's way below its actual worth, and these are intensely profit making companies where a lot of money is now moving into. Look at National Aluminium, 127.40 today. This is again one of those metal spaces that is doing immensely good. Before the show started, we had mentioned the dollar index slipping below or near 100, which is at a 6-month low, and commodities are a sure shot bullish move. If you look at the opposite side of dollar index, every single metal stock, if you look at in the FNO space, is doing pretty well. Look at this: Hindustan Copper 13.5% higher, Steel Authority 5.3% higher, National Aluminium 6.7% higher, Coal 3.4% higher, NMDC 2.4% higher. I am not even talking about the big boys: Tata Steel, Jindal Steel, JSW Steel, and Vedant. So we track 4 plus 4, 8 plus 2, 10 FNO stocks, and they are doing extremely well in the market. Tanya.
Absolutely, Shell, and I think mid cap and small cap space, this space has been outperforming, and how. But let's do one thing, Shell. Let's welcome our market guest also. We have with us Mr. Kranthi Bathini, who is the Director of Research at WealthMills Securities. Good afternoon, Mr. Bathini. And I think we also have with us Ashish Kapur, who is the CEO of Invest Shop. So, good afternoon, gentlemen, and always good to have you, both of you, on BT TV. I would like to start with you, Mr. Kapur. You know, your thoughts on Indian markets. I mean, 21,700 also now done and dusted on Nifty, and markets have been trading at record highs. But what's really next? I mean, where do you see market heading in 2024? And if you could share your top picks as well.
I think yes, very unbelievably good bull run, and yes, the lot of money making opportunities, and I'm sure the investors who have had the fortune to bought in earlier are making a lot of money. I think sector specific, stock specific would be the way ahead. My own feeling is that too much optimism and too much of euphoria already building in the markets. I Difficult to time it, but I think there is. I mean, my own feeling is that most of the positive, including the interest rates cycle reversing, the stable government coming in 2024, are already either factored in or are getting factored in this bull run. So I think time to be little cautious, time to kind of relook at your portfolio, to look at and be in only the stocks which are looking good, sectors which are actually turning around, which are going to do very well going forward also. And there are plenty of them, luckily, but I think good time to balance your portfolio and look at exiting and booking profits in some of the things where the run up has been a lot.
And what about your
Right.
top picks?
Very warm welcome to you, Ashish ji, and of course to you.
Shell, actually, I am always looking for opportunities. That's why I thought we should ask, the top picks from both the gentlemen, Ashish as well as Mr. Bathini as well. So, Mr. Kapoor, if you could go ahead and, tell us about your top picks for 2024.
Well, I think not right now, but on a correction, I would like to buy the power stocks like NTPC, Tata Power, REC, also the railway stocks like IRCTC, and the defense related stocks like BEL, HAL, Mazgaon Docks, Solar Industries, and these kind of things. But like I said, I think there's too much of euphoria right now. I would wait for some kind of cooling off and then buy into these things. And apart from that, I think the capital goods space where any decline in L&T, any decline in Linde Industries, any decline in your sugar stocks, any decline in some of the private banks like HDFC Bank, Axis Bank, would be a great opportunity according to me to buy.
Okay.
And what about you, Mr. Bathini? Your top picks for 2024?
Yeah, Tanya, good afternoon. Good afternoon, Shail. Yeah, it's a liquidity-led rally, and the classic case with the liquidity-led rally is Shail. In the beginning of the show, he mentioned a right point. Okay, there will be a bottom fishing. The stocks which have been laggards but with decent fundamentals, they try to participate in the market's rally. That's what we are witnessing in the market. Coming to the topics, Tanya, going ahead as we are entering into the new year, uh, majority of the space has been rallied a lot. And to be very honest with you, in this market, hunting for the bargain buys where the is very difficult, and the margin of safety in the stocks in mid and small cap space is relatively very less at this point of time. So we have a consensus view with Mr. Kapoor. Uh, we are looking forward for the stocks in the large cap space at this point of time. But my favorite picks for 2024 is going to be Hindustan Aeronautics, and stocks in the banking space still offers a good amount of margin of safety. HDFC Bank and stocks in the capital goods, still the capex cycle is on. So L&T remains one of our top picks. Any dip in L&T is a very good opportunity for the new investors as well as for the existing investors. And we do have defense offers a very, very good theme. Of course, these stocks have run up a lot. Still, there are pockets pockets of stocks offers good amount of value for the investors given the kind of order book visibility and earning visibility is concerned. So if market gives any consolidation and a good entry point, investors do consider the stocks in the defense themes. Defense remains a strong theme going ahead. Ignore IT also. Of course, IT have been laggard in 2023, but the large cap IT space have not participated in the rally as the rate cut news market is anticipating. So we can see good order wins and also US economy, companies increasing their budgets with respect to IT also offers a good margin of safety for the investors in a medium to long term. So these are the sectoral themes we have at this point of time. But in this market, value buys have been relatively is a challenging factor at this point of time.
Right, sir. Okay, let's look at a market from a very different lens. We are at 247 and have about 13 plus 30, 40, 3 minutes of time left. Let's look at first the record highs that are there in the markets. That will give you an idea where momentum is coming in. In terms of low price and high beta, it's Gas Authority, 157.25. We have NTPC, which is at 314. We have Bank of Baroda, 233. Power Grid, 237. And we have moves coming into stocks like Tata Motors, AU Bank, both of them at record highs, 792 and 747 respectively, as also players such as Bharat Forge at about 1242 and Colgate Palmolive at about 2523. My question to you, Ashish ji, is in this month, foreigners have invested somewhere in the vicinity of 50,000 crore rupees in Indian equities on a net basis. What are the major stocks you think they would have purchased which might perk up ahead in January?
Well, to be honest, I really haven't had a chance to go on this thing to really look at what they have been buying. But my sense is that more of a catch-up rally and would be their favorite stocks like HDFC Bank and maybe Kotak Bank and maybe some of the other large caps and also maybe some of the momentum sectors like power and power, defense, railways, capital goods. My sense is that that would be the area where they would be buying, and that would continue to keep the momentum in these sectors strong.
Okay, so that's the space that you are looking at. Kranthi, my question to you, where do you think in the mid-cap space resides value at this point of time?
Yeah, very difficult, Ashish, Shail. But there are spaces like in PSU also, the mid-cap space, we are finding momentum. Stocks like MSTC, Nivali Lignite, all these stocks have been participating in this rally, and even GMDC, there are mining stocks. Many stocks have been in the mid-cap space, have been in momentum in nature. And also some kind of mid-cap space in the recent listings also looks promising at this point of time. But it's going to be a mixed bagger, and it's more about stock specific than going into the merging the entire space at this point of time. Any dip in the mid-cap IT space also, it's a good opportunity for the investors in the medium to short term.
Okay, absolutely. Got that, Mr. Bathini. And this question is for you, Mr. Kapur. Some of the large cap stocks that took center stage yesterday, and across the board, we saw a rally playing out. Autos in particular saw a formidable move. So I would like to know it from you that how would you describe the year gone by for autos, and what would be the key trend for some of the top players for the next year? And I'm asking this because you have recently written an article on rise of electric two-wheelers in India, and I was reading that. So if you could share your thoughts and your top picks as well from the auto space.
Well, I think auto, again, the stocks have really run up a lot, but I mean, I think on a the long-term basis, you could Tata Motors, because I think the company is going to continue doing well with all its new launches and new areas in which it is getting in. And I think within the auto ancillary space, there are a lot of interesting ideas, including Bharat Forge, including things like Mansan Sumi, things like your Uno Minda. So all these are very, very secular growth stories. So you could buy and keep it for the long run and use any declines to add more.
Okay, got that. And some of the buzzing stocks, if we look at from the small cap and mid cap space, Mr. Kapoor, stocks like Hudco, let's pull up that stock PCR 129.4. That's the level where we are at, and 14% uptick there. So what's really happening when we talk about this counter, Mr. Kapoor, and where is the stock headed according to you?
Well, I think the stock, of course, has run up a lot today. So I think one can wait for it to cool down. But yes, the kind of projects which they are now getting, and I think the stock is only going to go higher. We have a target here of 180. I think so. There is still room on the upside, but of course today its run up is a lot. So maybe one can wait for a decline before buying.
Okay, let's do a bit of market spotting at this point of time. We'll focus back on the Nifty, 21,750 for you, 91 points higher. The Nifty Bank 183 points higher at 48,460. Let's look at stocks that are moving fairly smartly. BPCL. The reason why I point this out is that despite being an index heavyweight, the volume here is 2.3 times its 5-day average, and the counter is up 2%. This is on a volume of about 2 crore shares. Also on the move is Hero Motor Corporation, 2% up at about 41.48, 1.5 times the volume that you see of 12 lakhs. The price and the percentage price are sort of coming on your screen. I'm just going to now mark the volume change that's happening. Coal India, 380 in front of you. About 1.5 times the volume, 1.98 crore shares have been traded, and remember we still have about 36 minutes to go as far as trade is concerned. So this is what is happening in terms of the gainers, accompanied by a sharp surge in volume. Let's look at NSE 500. We've discussed Hudco in detail. 21 crore shares have been traded, 4.6 times the 5-day average. The stock was up 20% some time ago. A bit of profit booking happening here. What's also clicking fairly well is stocks like Gujarat State Petronet Limited. Remember, this is the energy and the fertilizer theme that's coming up in front of you. 5% higher, 309, and these 40 lakh shares represent something like 3.7 times 5-day average. Now the most interesting stock on the screen which is going to come to you is Kotak Mahindra Bank. This has somehow woken up from its deep slumber. 1924 in front of you, and this is the highest since July of 2023, so a 6-month high in front of you as far as Kotak is concerned. And truly speaking, this bank has done nothing from let us say 2019 December to 2023 December, just nothing at all. It's been flat to sideways. Ashish ji, I'm sure at some point of time you've held Kotak Mahindra Bank in your long-term portfolio. Any views that you would like to share at current levels? This has been a way underperformer.
It has been, and I think the concern with the market is obviously one is of course the valuation, which has always been on the higher side, and second is the change of guard. I mean, I think market is waiting for the new leadership to kind of show its its leadership and then the path going forward. So I think the change of guard, especially with a very charismatic leader like Uday Kotak now finally stepping down, is kind of a concern, because there are genuine concerns on whether the bank can actually maintain the kind of momentum which it enjoyed earlier and justify the valuation at which it trades. So my sense is that I think they will take little more time for it to really come out, and for the time being, I think it will still remain in a range bound and perhaps be in a market underperformer for at least some more time. It would still be a good stock if you're a very long-term investor, yes, but I think, frankly speaking, for the next 6 months to 1 year, there would be better opportunities in the market than Kotak Bank.
Absolutely. Got that, Mr. Kapoor. And quickly coming to you for Coal India as well, Mr. Kapoor, because this stock is also in focus among the top gainers today. And we have seen how the volume growth and realization picture is looking, and it is not very expensive in terms of valuation, if we see. It is a commodity stock and will always have that lower valuation. So, what are your thoughts when it comes to Coal India? Where do you see this stock, heading in 2024?
I think the Core India is still a good idea. I think you rightly said. I think the results are going to be very good going forward, and all their user industries are all doing well. So I think the volume growth would be very good going forward. And valuation, despite the run up, is not high at all. Still, the dividend yield is fairly good. So I think Coal India has finally broken out of its shackles. I mean, it remained an underperformer for years and years. So I think it still has a long way to catch up. So still not too late to catch Coal India, in my opinion.
Okay, absolutely. And on that note, thank you so much, Mr. Kapoor, for taking the time out and sharing, your valuable insights with us here on BTTV. And of course, a very happy New Year to you in advance.
Thank you, Levi's. Thank you, and same to you.
Yes, thank you. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, let's do one thing. Let's take a quick break, and lots more coming up on the other side. So stay tuned.
Darwin Platform Group of Companies is one of the fastest growing diversified Indian conglomerates with global footprints. It is setting up offices globally and tying up with companies across the globe from multiple sectors. The company has ventured into real estate and construction, stockbroking and finance, arms and ammunition, mining, airlines, and many other sectors.
In today's rapidly evolving business environment, when risk is omnipresent, managing risks is no longer just about ticking a few boxes. Businesses need to maintain a panoramic view of risks to stay ahead of the curve. Join us to explore how organizations can rethink risk to unlock new possibilities and become fit for future. At PwC presents De-Risking the Future in collaboration with Business Today.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. And now let's welcome our market guest on the show today. We have with us Mr. Avinash Gorakshakar, who is the head of research at Profitmart Securities. Very good afternoon, Avinash. Always good to have you on BTTV. Let's start with the market outlook first, and then we'll take your top picks for 2024 as well. Markets have been on a roll in 2023, and the markets continue to trade at record highs as we speak. 21,770, that's the level on Nifty. 120 points uptick there. What are your thoughts? I mean, where is the market headed going forward? And will the momentum sustain?
Yeah, good afternoon, Tanya. See, I think broadly the markets are excited because clearly, with Fed clearly stating that 2024 will see three interest cuts. I think the market is getting prepared for a huge amount of inflow, from the FI kind of, stance. Most importantly, I think if you look at the corporate performance in the second quarter and the expectations the market has from the third quarter onwards, my sense is that corporate earnings are going to continue to show a very strong trajectory. I think sectors like automotive, auto components, real estate, capital goods, cement, I think these are sectors where a lot of money has been coming in. And I think both the domestic institutions are also flush with money. The SIP, quantum of money which comes every month, about 17,000 odd crores, is also aiding to the market sentiment. And I think clearly, the market sentiment has also been very, positive after the state election victory. The general mood in the market is that the general elections now program could be announced anytime by the end of January. And that is also keeping the market excited. But the most important element is the FI flows. I think FI flows have come back in a very big way. So it won't be surprising that 2024 could see a record year of inflows from FIs, and that already has resulted into a significant reduction in our trade deficit. The rupee also will obviously become more stable, and that has led to a kind of a huge buying interest in the large caps, the small caps and the mid caps. The IPO market also, as everyone is aware, is extremely hot, and we are seeing record levels of subscriptions. So my sense is, this rally will continue, and there would be bouts of profit booking. But I think it's a buy on decline market, and one has to focus on specific stocks and companies where the balance sheets are strong, where there's a narrative and story. So I think investors should keep that in mind, and obviously be careful about the valuations. But at the broad end of the market, it's a good time to accumulate good quality stocks on any market declines.
Okay, very warm welcome to you, Avinash. And let's look at how the market is structured at the moment. Very strong rallies coming into PSUs of all texture and color, whether it's financing companies like HUDCO, IRFC, as also things like IREDA, then fertilizer and then metal space. Also OMCs, they're buzzing very, very strongly. Your top pick in the PSU space and any other stocks that you'd like to share at this point of time, which can be added to the portfolio?
No, I think, Shell, from the PSU space, we like a company called Container Corporation of India. We believe it's significantly undervalued, and with the government announcing a very strong kind of budget outlay for railways, I think container logistics, specifically which operate on the railway side, cannot be ignored. So I think here there were expectations that Concor would be sold as a strategic asset of the government of India to some strategic buyer. Unfortunately, did not happen last year. But I think going forward, the trigger remains, and I think the company's financials are extremely strong. So here we have been telling our clients to accumulate even at the current odd levels. You could expect levels of around 1150, 1200 over the next, say, 12, 15 months. So this is one PSU stock which we believe has not appreciated significantly, but has got very good potential. And obviously, from the railway pack, companies like Jupiter Wagons, typically a Texmaco Rail, as we have mentioned in your show earlier also, these could be very good bets if one were to look over the next 12, 18 months. Very strong order book, very strong, order pipeline. So I think clearly Jupiter Wagons as well as Texmaco Rail, if one were to take an investment call, I think one could definitely look at getting a decent risk reward over the next 12, 15 months.
Okay, so that's an unusual stock to talk about, and I have the long-term chart of Container Corporation in front of me from 2004 onwards. This was an how should I say, a blue chip Navratna company in the heydays of the PSU boom, and between 2008 to 2019, in a span of 11 years, the company has announced 4 splits, which basically have created immense value for shareholders who've been with us for a very long term in this particular stock. At the moment, at a record high 856.25, and as I have often said, just as VSNL at one point of time was an irreplaceable asset for the government of India, which got sold to the Tata Group. You now know it as Tata Communications. Similarly, Container Corporation of India is an irreplaceable asset. It can never be set up again from scratch, and if somebody buys it, then wonderful. If it remains with the government of India, then it remains a Navratna. One more question on the way the markets are functioning these days, Avinash. Record highs on stocks such as 3M India, record highs on 6-digit stocks such as MRF, record highs on stocks like Nestle, 26,000. Where is this money coming from?
No, I think Shell, I think you're right. In stocks like MRF or Nestle, I think the biggest challenge is whether these companies can be, looked upon from a purely price earning multiple point of view. Considering the fact that alpha in these companies is very difficult to make. So my sense is that some serious money is obviously coming in from the institutional buyers, but how long it will be sustained is a question mark. I've always been an advocate of alpha generation, and somebody who buys let's say a Nestle or maybe typically MRF obviously will buy in a big quantity only if the earnings growth is going to support these kind of high valuations. In case of Nestle, I think the bigger advantage has been the stock split announcement. So I think markets are excited that possibly in MRF also there could be a stock split. Normally, when stock splits are announced, markets get excited and are more happy. because liquidity in these counters increases quite significantly. So I think we have to be careful about these kind of sporadic increases. It's not that these companies are not good, but at these valuations, if somebody were buying, obviously the outlook has to be for the next 2 years plus. In the very near term, at least for the next 12 months, I think these stocks are significantly fairly valued in the market. So I think it's a matter of time how long this buying will continue. I'm still a buyer of companies which are basically growing at 25-30% earnings growth and which are available at sub 20 kind of valuation. So these are companies where possibly a lot of money can be made. But yes, blue chips will continue to be in demand because floating stock is generally very limited here, and a little bit of buying from the institutions or from some ultra HNIs actually pushes up value. But the key is sustainability. How long would this be sustained is anybody's guess.
The key is sustainability. That's the word coming in. But apart from the big rally that we have seen in the PSUs this year, Avinash, what are your expectations about next year? And if you think the rally will continue, I mean, I want to understand from you in which specific pocket. I mean, whether power financiers, railways, defense, metal mining companies, or PSU banks. Or is
No,
there
I think
any other sector that is on your radar?
No, I think clearly, the sectors which you mentioned are all in the limelight. But I think railways and defense would continue to bag a lot of limelight because there's a lot of runway yet remaining. I won't be surprised that the defense pack, you could see a lot of announcements from the government for the Make in India initiative and increased outlay for railway companies. In fact, the railway minister has clearly said that they want to ensure that there is no order book let up in the accessing business. So I think most of the wagon companies, most of the companies which are into consultancy, especially for the railway business, EPC business for the railways should all benefit. I think companies like Rides, Ircon, typically a Texmaco, definitely could look very interesting. The other area would be obviously defense companies where we are very positive on the marine shipbuilders, especially, companies like Garden Reach, Masgao Dock, Cochin Shipyard, very strong order book for the next 2 to 3 years. And I think the order book is expected to get further, boosted in the quarters to come. I think one sector where we believe it's a contra call and where I think valuations have come off very significantly from the highs is the agrochemical sector. I think, stocks like United Phosphorus, Sumitomo, I think these are companies which I think over the next, say, 12 to 15 months to do significantly better because, last year the entire sector underperformed. The agrochemical industry was significantly impacted by high inventory in the system, and it's impacted the performances of almost all the players. Our talks with most of these companies has shown that the inventory in the system has now more or less got diminished, and a lot of players like Sumitomo, Dharmaj Corp, or for that reason, Sharda Cropchem, typically a United Phosphorus rallies. These are very good bets at current levels because valuations have come off to very significantly attractive levels. So I think one can look at these companies, and actually nimble into them even at the current prices from a 12 to 15 month kind of time.
Okay, absolutely, got that. So these are the picks coming in. Keep an eye out on these picks as well. But talking about pharma sector as well, Avinash, I mean, if you look at the performance today as well, it is one of the top gainers for you. We have Lupin at 1341, 4% uptick there. We have Ipca Labs, we have Dr. Reddy, Aurobindo Pharma. These are all buzzing in today's trading session. I want to know it from you that are there any stocks that are on your radar from the pharma space?
Yeah, I think from the large cap space, we continue to like Sun Pharma because its continued focus on specialty, chemicals has actually boosted their, margins. And I think going forward also the management is very hopeful that this business would obviously result in aiding their operating margin quite significantly. Plus in the US markets, they've been launching new drugs and I think you could see a very buoyant US market for them. The other company could be Lupin. I think Lupin has turned around very, smartly from the second quarter numbers. And I think the third and the fourth quarter for Lupin also will be significantly strong. Although the stock has, risen significantly, we believe the fair value could be at least 1650 to 1700 over the next 12 to 15 months. And within the small cap, segment, a company called Sakar Healthcare, not very tracked by many people, but we know the management and we have been tracking this company. The company has been growing very well in the oncology space and has got a large market in Africa. So I think recently the company has made a preferential allotment at 385 rupees. Large funds like Tata Mutual Fund have now entered the stock. my sense is that this could be a very good, kind of a deep value investment if one were to take the next 12 to 18 months. So I think, there are certain selective small companies in certain pockets like oncology, which I think should do extremely well. So I think, the investor should be a very selective buyer in pharma, because every company within the pharma space is a different case study altogether.
Okay. What are you watching, Shell?
Tanya, there is an across the board momentum in metal stocks. Hind Copper 270.30, huge breakout and price volume that has come in. We have about 14 minutes left, and at this point of time, Hind Copper is obviously the most important stock as far as the volume pressure is concerned. Okay, Hind Copper has a volume of 2,600 shares, 26,000 shares. I'm so sorry, 2,600 crore worth of amount has been transacted. The counter is up 15%. Now we'll see the rebalancing of the market happening. Remember the last hour, the MSCI rebalancing happening, and suddenly you have huge volume coming in. HDFC Bank, 3,091 crore worth of transactions done at 1703. HUDCO we've discussed many times, 2,924 crores worth of transactions happening at this point of time. And some of the volume changes that have happened dramatically are on National Aluminium, 128.40. Still a huge price action coming here. Let me just mention what is the turnover. 1,188 crores worth of shares on National Aluminium have happened today, which is a nice blowout as far as prices are concerned. I'd like to mark a few more stocks because today is the last day of what has been a fabulous F&O expiry for the month of December. And let's look at the top gainers in the F&O space. We've discussed the first three. Let's look at the next three. BHEL up 6%, 192.70. Steel Authority 122.30. IOC, which is 5.4% higher, 133.55. Avinash, it is a comment on how the Modi premium is getting, how should I say, explained in the market. In the F&O market at the moment, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 stocks out of the first 10 are PSU top gainers. If I extend this to 10, then 8 out of top 10 stock winners in the F&O space are PSU stocks. You really know where the money is getting into. These are, as Tanya says, let's hear it from her. Tanya, how do you describe these high velocity, high beta stocks?
I call them chota packet bada dhamaka shell, and we have seen so many of them, right? We have seen like multi-bagger returns coming in from these chota packets, and I have been using this term. I think I started using this term in 2022, I guess.
Okay, now why don't you get it patented?
I'll try for sure, Shell. That would be, such a good idea.
Okay. Absolutely. Chota packet bada dhamaka registered proprietary patent with Miss Tanya Aneja. Let's take this discussion forward. It's a great rally on the Nifty. Remember when we started this show in the morning, today the Nifty was up 7.2% in the month of December alone. And looking at today's rally of another 0.5%, remember it's going to end some days high. We still have about 14-15 minutes of trade left. So fabulous move coming in. The more you can appreciate, the better it is. And it's across the board. Whether it is metal stocks such as Steel Authority, National Aluminium, Hindustan Copper, whether it's fertilizer stocks such as NFL, FACT, as also RCF and GSFC, whether it's banks like PNB, Canara, BOB, the entire PSU space is abuzz with grains, and the top gaining index today is the Nifty CPSC index, as also the Nifty PSU banking index. And even in lower indices such as the Nifty Energy Index, you have stocks like HPCL, BPCL, Gas Authority buzzing with great gains. Avinash, since you've been in this market for more than 2 decades, do you think this is becoming a crowded trade, the PSU basket?
I think Shell clearly, I think PSU has now caught the fancy of almost every retail as well as ultra HNI investor. And I think this rally will continue for some more time till the time the union budget is not presented. Although this time it would be an interim budget. See, my sense is you have to see all the PSU stocks selectively. I think from the PSU banking space, as you rightly mentioned, I think there are lots of pockets of opportunity where the growth momentum still continues to be strong. We are very positive on Bank of Baroda, Canara Bank, State Bank of India. And as far as the railway pack is concerned and the defense pack is concerned, you cannot ignore, companies like Bharat Electronics or typically Bharat Dynamics. More importantly, companies like Masgao Dock, now Cochin Shipyard. Now, these are companies, which got large market shares in the defense arena. So I think despite the fact that these stock prices have gone up by 100 or even 200 odd percent, the outlook going forward is quite positive. So I think you need to give in a longer period of time, a slightly long time window to actually sit there and actually see your money grow. But yes, in the very near term, in the short term, these could be just trading bets. And obviously, you could find some sort of consolidation in these kind of stocks. So I think it's not a crowded trade, but yes, my sense is that there will be some consolidation here. I think one has to be careful on the fact that any short-term trader would have to be very quick onto his stop losses, but yes, from a long-term perspective, there's a lot of value to be made here. So I think it's going to be very, very selective shell. So I won't be surprised. You'll see a lot of rally within these stocks. By the time the budget comes in February, because we're going to see a lot of big announcements in this budget, despite being an interim budget. The government will make all-round efforts to ensure that it's a very growth-oriented, pragmatic kind of budget.
Okay, Tanya, what are you watching?
I just want to ask one thing, Avinash, to you, that after such a massive series that we have seen, how much probability is there that the January series may also be positive for the Indian markets? Or do you see some profit book taking, leading to negative January series?
I think my guess is, Tanya, January is going to be a very important month, considering the fact that the government, the BJP is going to schedule the Ram Mandir on 22nd January. I think after that
Yes.
there are expectations that you could possibly see the electoral campaign or the electoral program announced by Mr. Modi himself. So I think that is one big trigger which the market is awaiting. And I think, let me honestly tell you, the BJP and the entire, government, central government is going to leave no stone unturned to ensure that this is going to be a national movement. So I think the markets would be buzzing with a lot of activity. And I think this is one main event which the market would be looking forward. Although, in financial numbers, this has got no correlation. But I think the markets are expecting that the election campaign, could possibly be announced now, as the sentiment is extremely positive, favoring the current, central government. And I think if that is announced very soon, if we get to know the election kind of schedule and campaign, I would not be surprised the markets would get further irritated. And January is also a month where you obviously also get to know the allocations from foreign institutional investors. A lot of foreign money has been on the sidelines. So don't be surprised that this rally will now be supported by a lot of global liquidity, which is now just waiting to enter the Indian markets. So I think, one should keep fingers crossed. But yes, I think January should be significantly better considering these developments. And of course, earning season would also continue to, come in. So I'm very positive on companies, putting up a reasonably good kind of corporate earnings numbers in this earnings season.
Okay, absolutely. And I just want to discuss primary markets with you as well, Avinash, because there were 2021 IPOs in the month of December alone. And now that a lot of these have got listed, can you talk about some of those? I mean, the IPO, the recent listings that you would like to recommend as a buy. I mean, your thoughts on Tata Tech, IRDA, and some other, IPOs, the recent listings.
I think, there have been so many IPOs, Tanya, that Now I think you have lost count of so many, but I think
True
frankly,
that.
IRIDA, from a 2-year perspective, would be a
Hmm.
good kind of, accumulation kind of point of view. It's trading at around 85, 90 rupees.
Hmm.
My sense is that unless the investor who comes in now can spend at least a couple of years in these companies, the risk reward is not going to be significant because, from 32 rupees IPO price, IRIDA has gone up to almost 92. It had a high of almost 110 odd rupees. So I think business wise, everything looks okay. Valuations have obviously taken a steep rise, and therefore, clearly, I think somebody who wants to take a long term call can look at accumulating the IRIDA, for a 2-year perspective. I think Tata Technologies also, I would say that, this is a great business, but the valuations have been spiked up quite significantly. So only if an investor has 2 to 3 years kind of, opportunity and he looks upon this share as a long term investment holding, can definitely look at. I would not be surprised in the next 3 years this stock could easily double. But I think you need the time and patience and the conviction to hold on to these stocks. I think as far as the rest of the IPOs are concerned, I think it would make sense to at least book some profits off the table because I think a lot of hot money has entered these IPOs with the kind of oversubscription levels which you have been seeing is clearly an indicator that here the market could get saturated in some time.
Absolutely, and it's marquee investors, Tanya, like Mr. Sachin Tendulkar, who've really made supernormal gains in a listing today, which is Azad Engineering.
Yes.
His purchase price was 100 rupees. The stock was sold at 524, and it listed somewhere in the vicinity of 710. It's still doing fantastically well. One really doesn't know what the quantity is, what Mr. Tendulkar purchased at the time of pre-IPO, but one does know that he sold some share in OFS and of course continues to retain a very smart quantity as of now. Let's see what Azad Engineering is doing. Maybe we can pull it on the screen for our viewers. Yes, 677. It's a 30% uptick as of now. It listed at about 710 rupees. That was a 36% premium to its issue price of 524. A very strong patronage coming in on the IPO side as well. We have 6 minutes left, ladies and gentlemen. Let's start wrapping up the market. Almost at the day's high is where the Nifty is, 21,785, 130 points higher. Remember, it started up with a gap up of about 60-65 points and has since built up that fantastic margin. The Nifty Bank is 225 points higher, 48,507. A very strong move coming in the broader NSE 500 as well. But it's the PSU indices that have just taken over the market. The Nifty Oil and Gas Index, the Energy Index, is up about 1.5%. When you look at the Nifty CPSE Index, it's up 2%. The Nifty Metals Index, dominated by PSU stocks, is up 1%, and a very strong move coming into all OMCs. So fertilizer, OMC, metals, banks, all from the public sector space doing fantastically well. Today was also the day of the FNO expiry, and December has been fantastic. At about 7.8%, the Nifty has posted its best monthly rally since July of 2022. So that's a very big achievement that's come in. And the other thing I wanted to mention was that if you think that 7.8% was a fantastic uptick, just look at what the other indices have done. The Bank Nifty has gone ahead of the Nifty. It's up 8.3%. The mid cap Nifty is up 7.6%, and the Fin Nifty is at 7.3% in terms of monthly gains in this particular expiry. I'd also like a few stocks that have hit record highs within the Nifty. Yesterday they were 8. Let us see how much are there today. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, there are 4 plus 4 plus 4, 12 stocks. So the momentum is getting sharper still. NTPC 315.40. This is a record high. Hero Motors, Tata Motors, Nestle. Remember, as Jan 5th approaches, the company is to announce a stock split, and let's see what that ratio is. Fresh record high 26,260. Tata Consumer 1,044. Power Grid, Britannia. There is a very smart, how should I say, sprinkling of FMCG companies. Britannia, Tata Consumer, Nestle coming in here. Then you have Titan. I would imagine Titan is also an FMCG company. Grasim, JSW Steel, Ultratech Cement, and L&T. So these are the top gainers when you look at how the Nifty has performed today in terms of all-time highs. And we've mentioned volume buzzers with gains. That's BPCL, Dr. Reddy's, Hero Motors, Coal India, and NTPC. Wherever you look, no matter how you slice and dice data, whether it is record highs, whether it is top traded volumes, whether it's top gains, it's PSUs and PSUs everywhere. It's the Modi premium that is coming to the market. Tanya.
Absolutely. I think you said it, Shell and Coal India, that's the top gainer for you from the Nifty pack, all-time high for Coal India as well. Shell, you were about to share something on Coal India, right? Your something about the listing, if I'm not wrong.
Oh, okay. Yes, I remember the listing date was somewhere in 2010, and Coal India was priced at, I think, 245 rupees per share, and at that point of time 15,000 crores was India's largest IPO. Tanya, it got listed with a dhamaka. So I think it got listed at 280, 290, and it hit an intraday high of 330 rupees. And the whole world was, abuzz with gains, because this was not only India's largest coal producer, but also the world's largest coal producer. Yes. And from then on, it went on to hit a high of about 400 or so. And then there was this, I think, UK-based foreign institutional investor that bought 1% of Coal India. And that was, a trade that didn't go very well, and they had a lot of problems. They would come to India in terms of, trying to convince the largest shareholder, which was the government of India, to change the way it operates PSU companies. And the government of India listened to them politely and said, Namaste, we know what to do. And from then on, from 400, the stock corrected to 120 levels. So even at 379, Tanya, we are still not above the, of course it's above the IPO price now, but it's still not done anything. So once it crosses the hedge of about 419, 425, then the real magic will start. But so far, it's like an uptick. It's like a story book that is yet to be fully read, Tanya.
Okay, let's wait and watch then, Shell. Let's wait for the magic to happen. But lastly, before we let you go, Avinash, your thoughts on Coal India?
Yes.
I think the growth drivers now for Coal India appear to be pretty strong. In fact, one major bone of contention was the volume growth. I think in the last 2 to 3 quarters, Coal India has increased its production quite significantly, and I think coal is a very important metric in thermal power generation. So I think as long as power generation continues to do well, we see very strong growth in the core sectors, specifically power, which is a major user of coal. I would not be surprised that you could see a lot of activity in this counter. In fact, Coal India is known for large dividend payouts. But I think this time, over the next, say, 12 to 18 months, you could see a lot of growth kicking in. So I would not be surprised if we could see levels of even 430, 440 here. But I think it would be a steady and a slow kind of journey. But yes, I think there are a lot of institutional buyers, a lot of ultra HNI buyers who have now understood that it is a monopoly player, is a cash-rich PSU, gives good dividends. So I think valuation still can get operated. But yes, I think you will need to give it a prime frame of at least 6 to 12 months. So we are positive on the stock from a long-term perspective.
Okay, positive on the stock. By the way, the stock has given 65% return in just 6 months. But on that wonderful note, thank you so much, Avinash, for sharing your valuable insights with us and being with us here on BTTV. And thanks to you as well, Shell, for sharing, the excellent data with us as always. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, it's a wrap. Let's see how the action pans out going forward. We started with the Century and we are closing with the Century 2 on Nifty. But lots more coming up for you only on BT TV. So stay tuned and many thanks for watching.
Darwin Platform Group of Companies is one of the fastest growing diversified Indian conglomerates with global footprints. It is setting up offices globally and tying up with companies across the globe for multiple sectors. The company has ventured into real estate and construction, stockbroking and finance, arms and ammunition, mining, airlines and many other sectors.
In today's rapidly evolving business environment, when risk is omnipresent, managing risks is no longer just about ticking a few boxes. Businesses need to maintain a panoramic view of risks to stay ahead of the curve. Join us to explore how organizations can rethink risk to unlock new possibilities and become fit for future. At PwC presents De-Risking the Future in collaboration with Business Today.
Let's talk about the opportunities then, Brijesh, because lots of experts have been saying that there are a lot of opportunities in this kind of a market as well. So would you like to share your top technical picks with us?